Good evening, everyone. My name is Dr. Janelle Morris, and I am Deputy Superintendent with the Rochester City Schools. And I'm here to help facilitate the school reconfiguration recommendations that are going to be discussed during this public hearing. Thank you for joining us this evening. I'm going to lead a discussion, and I would like to begin by drawing your attention to the enrollment that we have on the screen. The Rochester City School District currently has 23,865 students in our district. We are built, however, for more than 30,000 students to be in our facilities and schools. And so tonight we're going to talk about some decisions and proposals that the superintendent is putting forth to the Board of Education for consideration in order to ensure that we're using our resources effectively. We have several schools with varying configurations that you can see on the screen, and our demographics of our district is 52% Black or African American, 33% of our students are Hispanic or Latino, 9% are white, and 6% report as other. We also have 20.5% of our students who have disabilities, and 15% of our students are learning English as a language. Also, we have several of our Rochester City School students that are participating in other types of schooling opportunities, such as charter schools. We have almost 7,000 students that are enrolled in charter schools. We have 1,300 in private or parochial schools. We have 935 in urban suburban, 705 who are homeschooled, 426 students that are in CSE placements, and 1,347 that are in community-based programs. The Rochester City School District has a state monitor, and that state monitor has developed academic and financial plans. The academic and financial plans have asked the district to look at certain systemic issues and ask them to look at aligning the district resources according to a declining student population in order to make sure that we are maximizing the access for students to our resources and programs in schools. And we have several configurations of schooling in the Rochester City School District. We have 9, and these range from pre-K 6 all the way to 9-12. And so when families and students are looking to switch or change schools, the configurations that are available to them can be varied as they move around the city. And so that's one of the issues that the monitor's academic and financial plan asks the district to take a look at. So one of the elements of the academic and financial plan is to establish school models where possible so that there will be a consistent grade configuration of pre-K to 5, 6, 8, and 9-12 throughout the school year. And it is proposed that that phase in begins in the 22 to 23 school year. This would increase opportunities for vertical and horizontal articulation, academic acceleration, facilities consolidation, and fiscal efficiency. So when the superintendent and her team were looking at how to examine the charge as given to us by the academic and the financial plan, there were 4 guiding principles the superintendent and her team focused on. These are in areas of access to equitable academic and extracurricular programming, enrollment and choice, accountability status, and building use and conditions and capacity. So what we mean by access to equitable academic and extracurricular programming is there would be designs of proposals that would allow for students to have higher access to advanced placement, dual credit, career and technical education or CTE, and enrichment opportunities. And this way, through the proposals that have been put in place, The opportunities to afford all students access to specialized programs, continuums, and athletics would be part of the proposal. And remember, this is just a proposal to the Board of Education for their consideration in the months to come. Enrollment is to be addressed by this proposal by trying to address the fact that, as I mentioned at the beginning of the slide, the Rochester City School District has continued to see a decline in enrollment of students in the pre-K 12 grade levels over the past 7 years. A vision district, and in 21-22, we are down to 23,865. Another area that the superintendent and her team examined were the accountability status of the schools. So Rochester currently has 12 schools that are in receivership designation. Additionally, the Rochester City School District has multiple schools that are designated as either targeted support and improvement. There are 4 schools in that designation. Only 14 of the district schools are in good standing at this time. And then lastly, another area of focus for the superintendent and her team to focus on were in the areas of building capacity, use, and condition. As I mentioned at the beginning, the district has the capacity to hold 34,240 students in the facilities. However, we have a current enrollment of 23,865 students. If you look at our buildings across the district, you will see that we have building utilization that spans anywhere from 5% to 104%. So that means we have some buildings that are very, very um, um, kind of filled to the gills, if you will. And we also have some buildings that do not have a lot of student enrollment in there. We also have another building, for example, where it's a wood frame building and it's almost 100 years old. And then we also have another building, Building School 29, that is in need of mechanical upgrades. So the process that the superintendent and her team employed to look at all of the schools and come up with a proposal for the Board of Education was to look at all the data, examine the district's history, look at the buildings and how they were being utilized, look at grade level configurations across the district, and then to identify schools for potential proposal. The reason why the district is presenting this in a public hearing is because, as part of the policy of the board, which is policy 7600, there is a process to present and propose reconfiguration or closures of schools. And so this involves the board being made aware of what a proposed plan is no more than 3 months before the board would be asked to take a vote. And we anticipate the request for that vote will be in February 2022. We have a March 1st deadline submission to the state that we would need to meet for any changes that we would want to put in place. We are holding this public hearing in order to gather input from the district stakeholders. And also this is coupled with presentation to many other stakeholder groups such as PLAC, CPAC, and other groups that are supporting districts. We will collect all of the feedback that we have through this process, and we will present all of the proposals to the board, along with any modifications that have arisen during our feedback process. And then the board would then also get a summary of any comments that are being offered by our community groups. And then the board can consider a resolution to approve, reject, or modify the plan for any of the proposals that we are discussing tonight. The board can also waive any of the above steps in the event of an emergency or other circumstances. And so, as we start to discuss some of the proposed changes that we will present to the board in February 2022. We want to center on the benefits to our students. We wanted to ensure that with each proposed decision, it would demonstrate access to resources or programs. We wanted to make sure that we are allowing for those consistent transition points. Remember, I talked about the grade level configuration and the continuum of pre-K to 5 and 6 to 8 and 9 to 12. And also, some of these proposals allow our students to have access to robust academic and extracurricular continuums. So the first proposal from the team is that there would be a there would be a closure of School 7, and all of the students that are currently in grades K through 6 would participate in the school choice process. The RISE Community School 106 group, or the school, would move to School 7's campus. That school will become a pre-K to 5 school, and anyone who is in that school who is out of zone and a current 5th through 6th grade student would participate in the school of choice process. As we mentioned, there were several things that came along with this particular proposal. We cannot propose a merger here because there's not enough space in the School 7 campus for both schools. But what was considered when making this proposal was the geographical location, that these buildings are both close to each other. Looking at the age and the condition of the building, I mentioned before, School 106 is a wood framed building and it's 100 years old. And also looking at the accountability status. The next proposed change is for School 29 and School 19. The proposal is to move the School 29 school to the School 19 campus. The school will become a pre-K to 5 school. Any students who are at School 29 who are out of zone or current 5th and 6th grade students would be able to participate in the school of choice process, and the GEM program will relocate to another building. We are going to also be collaborating with the New York State Education Department to ask for a school accountability review. This is because School 29 is in good standing, but School 19 is currently a CSI in receivership. And we want to ask them for the best way to ensure that the accountability reflects the new school. And any out of zone will allow to participate in school choice process. We can propose a merger in this case because both of these school populations will fit into one campus. However, the decision-making points that we are focusing on for this particular proposal, we're looking at the geographical location, looking at the condition of the building, and the accountability status. As I mentioned before, School 29 needs significant mechanical repairs, so that is fitting into the decision about the condition of the building. Another proposal is to have School 54 and School 53 combined together with a closure of School 54. This would allow any of the current grades K through 6 students to participate in the school of choice process. The School 54 school would move to School 53, and this school would become a pre-K to 5 school, and any students there could participate in grades 5 or 6 in the school of choice process. They're unable to merge in that space. There's not enough space in that school building, but this would allow the district to expand the Montessori program, look at and capitalize upon the accountability status of the schools, and prepare the building to become a middle school. Also, another proposal is to propose that School 25 and School 39 are able to merge. The proposal is to move School 25 to School 39. So they would be in that physical location. And this would create a pre-K 5 school with out of zone students and a current 5th and sixth grade students would be able to participate in school choice. There would also be a collaboration and review from the New York State Education Department regarding the accountability status. These two populations can merge because there's enough room on the one campus, and it would allow the opportunity to capitalize on a signature program, highlight the accountability status, and prepare the old building to become a middle school. Additionally, there are a few secondary school proposals that are being presented as well. These include 3 middle schools that would be proposed. This is Dr. Alice Holloway Young School of Excellence, which is a TSI school right now. This school would transition to become a 6 through 8 school. The decision-making element for that was to shift to a middle school model, and that's the same lens for Northwest Middle School. We want to transition that to a 6 through 8 grade school. Leadership Academy for Young Men, which is a CSI receivership right now. The proposal is to close that school and have all current 7th through 11th grade students participate in school choice. Leadership Academy for Young Men is undersubscribed at this time, and also it has the accountability status of CSI receivership. Another proposal is having the Northeast College High School, which is a CSI receivership, move to Charlotte campus with a social justice focus. Anybody who is in that particular school, who is in grades 9 through 11, have the option to either move to that new campus and participate in the new program, or participate in the school of choice process. And the decision-making points for that were the Northeast school design is better suited for younger students, and it allows the expansion of the school's focus and allowing for that social justice element to be incorporated, and also allows for increased extracurricular participation. And then the Rochester International Academy, or RIA, is a program that will not be closed or anything else. The program itself would be moved to the Wilson Commencement Campus, and any student who's a newcomer in grades 6 through 8 will move to a middle school model. And any student who transitions out of the RIA program can be allowed to participate in the Wilson Commencement programming. And this way, students are proximal to be able to participate in the International Baccalaureate High School experience, and it would allow for an international high school focus in that building. So we are proceeding through the steps of stakeholder engagement, as I discussed in a few slides before. This allows our community to give their feedback in several different ways. This includes school community meetings. Many of these are being held already in schools. We've had engagement with our Student Leadership Council, the PLAC, BEC, CPAC, and we are having the public hearing today. There will be additional opportunities for stakeholder engagement, and you can also send in your comments via our website, where you can just submit your comments via the survey link at any time. And then the final board vote is anticipated to occur in February 2022. So we are going to move to start taking responses from our speakers. Each speaker will have 2 minutes to offer feedback. All speakers will remain in the waiting room until it is time to speak. Any speaker who cannot be identified from their name in the waiting room cannot be let into the hearing. So please make sure that your name in the waiting room reflects the name that you signed up with. And please make sure to mute or turn off any streams of the live meeting on YouTube or Facebook when you enter the room. There is a delay between the live stream and live Zoom meeting that will cause audio issues in the hearing. Thank you very much for participating, and we will go ahead and bring forth our first speaker.
So our first speaker is Cadence Pacheco, a student, and they're coming into the room right now.
Hi. I don't know if you can hear me. All right. Hi. I don't know. Is it good? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Make sure you've turned off your stream so you don't have a delay.
Got it. Okay. All right. So I was asked to come speak by my old school, School 25. I'm currently a senior at School of the Arts. But that's because we were in Zoom all year last year. It happens. But I believe that being able to continue to keep schools like 25 K through 6 will allow these sixth graders to have the teachers that they have been with for so long and have formed these great relationships with, have somebody to take them through the process of transitioning to middle school and high school, as well as have these teachers to always text later or email later and ask them for help on anything. I know I still communicate with a lot of my old teachers from that school. Matter of fact, they've helped me get to where I am today. They've helped me with my college application process. So I do believe that keeping 25 and K through 6 schools the same would be a pretty good move in terms of this proposal.
Thank you. Our next speaker.
All right, our next speaker is coming in. It's Abdullah Said, another student.
Hi, I can't hear you guys.
Hello.
Hi, I'm Abdullah Said, a former student at RIA International Academy, Rochester International Academy, and I was asked to speak at this meeting by my old teachers and principal. I think that RIA should not be experiencing any type of changes because, if anything, they need the most help they can get. And RIA is one of the best schools. I have graduated from there. I was the former school president for 2021 and 2020, I think. And then RIA offers a great experience for immigrants that have no voice. And RIA is a place that people call home. RIA is not just a school, and it shouldn't be cut down. If anything, they should be adding to RIA. And I think this will not work out too well for the new coming students that are coming now and the students that are already at RIA. Because I have been to city schools way before I started. After I'd been at RIA for a couple months, I thought I had enough English to go to other schools, and I was proven wrong by the teachers, the students, and everything else. I did not get the proper help I needed, and I was not understood well because the teachers that were teaching me were not trained to teach a person who's never spoke an English word in their life. Some of us at RIA never even went to school our whole lives, and we are expected to perform as well as other students who have more opportunities than us. So why should we give up our opportunity just because someone said they don't know what we want? They know what they want, and I think RIA is the best place to be right now, and you guys should not make any changes if you're not adding to RIA. And I'm thanking you guys for letting me speak. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Our next speaker is Rebecca Hetherington from Plaque. She's coming into the room right now.
Hi.
Hi.
So thank you for giving us a chance to speak tonight, and thank you to the students who spoke before. My name is Rebecca Hetherington, and I'm the Secretary of PLAC, the Parent Leadership Advisory Council. We put out a Google form to our membership and to parents in the district. And I wanted to share some of those with you, and we'll also submit those in writing. The universal concerns that we were seeing is that policy 7600, number 5, it encourages the completion of the presentation. The district shall submit to the board the preliminary plan with modifications, and we would ask that parents and students have the opportunity to be a part of that conversation before the plan is set and submitted. The second is that we want to ensure that along with the publicly posted meetings with school communities, that the school-based planning teams from each program that are directly affected by this were presented to as well as outlined in policy 7600. The third thing is that the district really must do away with the lottery system for entering kindergarten and consider implementing pre-kindergarten and kindergarten combined classrooms or some form of a bridge to create, to prevent so much student loss at that age shift. We presented our membership with all 7 proposals, and 2 of them were really passionately responded to. The first is the closure of school number 7, and moving 106 into that space. School 7 should stay open. The school opened in 1842 and has been at its present location since 1859. It's a true neighborhood school with many families staying in that area because of the school and the teachers. By closing that school, you're taking away the option for parents to make that decision and for the community to have a true neighborhood school, which the RCSD administration and the Board of Education have repeatedly said that they want to continue to grow. I'm not sure how much time there is.
Yeah,
Is that
no, it's time is over, but thank you so much for those. And we look forward to getting the written comments as well from you. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. Have a good night.
You too.
Okay,
Next
Dr.
speaker.
Morris coming into the room is Tonya Dawson, a parent.
Thank you. You have 2 minutes and you can start whenever you're ready.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. As far as saving school number 7, my son, who is now currently in the Navy, went to number 7. My grandchildren went to number 7. My nieces, when I got custody of them 3 years ago, there was no choice. When CPS asked me, where do I want them to go? There was no question as to where I wanted them to go, was number 7. Number 7 is a school which to me is a family type place for me. So therefore I want to continue keeping them. I have my granddaughter is in pre-K, and I have right now from pre-K all the way till 5th grade at number 7. I don't plan on wanting to leave number 7. I want this to continue to be my family type school. And I'm very familiar with the school. So therefore, I want to make sure that we continue to keep this school not just in the neighborhood, but in my family. It's family. And I want my biological family to say, hey, we all went to number 7 on Dewey Avenue in Rochester. That's what I want. That's what I'm looking for, is to know Virgil I. Grissom. That is our family. That's part of our family legacy. That's part of our history. Just when they say, hey, that's part of our family lineage. So that's what I want to do, is to make saved for us. So like I said, I got my pre-K granddaughter. I got my 2 nieces that are in 1st and 4th grade. I want to make sure that we continue to keep this school in my family. So I thank you for the opportunity to let me speak.
Thank you so much for your comments. Thank you. Have a great evening.
Thank you so much.
Dr.
Thank
Morris
you.
is going down the list. We have a parent, Stacy Walker, who will be next to speak and is in the waiting room. We do want to invite everyone in the waiting room to make sure that you are named properly with the name you registered with, to make sure that you can be clearly identified and brought in for tonight's hearing. I'm bringing in Stacy right now.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Stacy Walker. I'm a parent of School 54. I'm representing PTSO and a parent. My son did graduate last year from School 54. We have several family members that graduated from School 54 as well. It's a community school. The teachers there are great. The principal there is awesome, and the vice principal there as well. We had some transition in the past few years, but now they're stable. We have teachers that's been there. We've been there. I'm sorry, the teachers. Sorry. My phone. We have teachers there, been there 10, 15, 20 years of experience. And I want that to be, it's a community school. So I want it to stay in the neighborhood. We have different community partners that help out with our school. I think it's an excellent school. The teachers, like I say, and the principal, they're both amazing. And to see that school closed down just because the reconfiguration, I think it's sad. You know, it's been, like I say, in my family for many years, and I wanted to stay in the community as well. So I appreciate the fact that, you know, hear my thoughts and concerns, you know, with School 54. Like I say, I just, you know, I'm a proud parent of 54 and glad that I'm able, you know, to have teachers and the district and say the parents at the school, the teachers at the school, I'm sorry, that stand by me and with the kids as well.
Thank you so much, Ms. Walker.
Thank you.
Dr. Morris, our next speaker is Maureen Borum, who is a community member, and they're coming into the room right now.
Thank you. Good evening. You have 2 minutes.
Good evening. My name is Maureen Borum, and I'm the case coordinator and a group therapist at Mount Hope Family Center. We work with children and families in our community to support them in addressing the impact of trauma exposure. And as part of my current position, I work on site at Rochester International Academy, providing services to the students there. Our community is greatly enriched by the refugee children and families who have come to our city seeking refuge from their countries of origin. The stories of migration are treacherous and brave, remarkable and horrific. And according to our country's current administration and Catholic Family Center, who works to resettle families in our area, there will be over 1,000 refugees relocating to our community within the coming year. The children that RIA's closure would most affect have not yet arrived in the US. They are huddled in refugee camps, detention centers at our border, and in US military bases worldwide. These students do not yet have a voice, so we must be that voice. I have witnessed firsthand that the staff at RIA are operating through a lens of trauma-informed care and humanity. This is the type of specialized school setting we need in our community to illuminate the strengths and specifically address the vast and varying challenges faced by a diverse refugee population. These individuals deserve a learning environment in which they can thrive that is specifically designed for their needs instead of facing even more structural barriers. This is truly a community school that focuses on the social emotional learning and development of their students so that they can have a strong foundation and capacity for focusing on their academic learning and growth. RIA is an exemplar for holistic schooling, solution-focused work, and the utilization of necessary academic and emotional support. These students have already endured multiple traumas. Please do not cause another. I ask you to reconsider moving this home for refugee children and families, and instead utilize RIA's expertise in supporting refugee students across the district. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Dr. Morris, our next speaker is Mike Conniff, a community member, and they're coming into the room right now. Thank you for being with us this evening. You have 2 minutes. You can go ahead and unmute.
Is this me? Okay, thank you. First of all, let me qualify myself. I am CEO of Rochester Refugee Resettlement Services, and before that, board chair of Mary's Place Refugee Outreach.
Thank you for being with us this evening. You have 2 minutes. You can go ahead and unmute.
Mr. Conniff, if you shut off any streams or any Facebook or YouTube that you have going on, it'll keep it from having a delay.
Qualify myself. I am CEO of Rochester Refugee Resettlement Services, and before that, board chair of Mary's Place Refugee Outreach. I think I'm doing this right.
Mr. Conniff, if you shut off any streams or any Facebook or YouTube that you have going on, it'll keep it from having a delay.
Okay, I see. All right, I'll close the YouTube. There we go. Okay.
Thank you.
Guys, for that. I think I'm in business here. Okay.
You have 2 minutes.
Well, let me start again, and I'll be as quick as I can. I apologize for that error. So just giving my qualifications, CEO of Rochester Refugee Resettlement Services. Before that, board chair of Mary's Place Refugee Outreach Center. So I've been involved with New Americans for 10 plus years. And I want to express concern about moving RIA out of Jefferson High School. It's important, as we have built refugee community in the northwest part of Rochester, to have services close to where the families live, because that's critical for them, especially when they have minimal transportation capacity. So having RIA at Jefferson has been a great success. I've been involved with that program for more than 10 years through Rochester Northwest Rotary, and we have a high school Rotary Club there called an Interact Club, which has been very active. And what keeps it going and what is important is that it raises plants for Food Link, and also as a fundraiser, they grow sunflowers, which are sold at the public market in the spring. In the 7 or 8 years that the Interact Club has existed, they've raised more than $10,000, and they've had well over 200 members of the club. The greenhouse is critical to the Interact Club. If RIA is pulled out of there, the club will not be able to exist. Most of the students that go through the club end up in college. So we think it's a great success. We have a strong support from Rotary International and our local club to keep this going. And as I said earlier, it's important to keep the school in the neighborhood. So those are my 2 cents. Thank you for the time. I'm finished.
Thank you so much, Mr. Conniff. Have a great evening.
Thank you.
Coming to the room next is a community member, Ed Donnelly.
Yes, good evening. Thank you. As a city resident, RIA volunteer and RIA advisory board member, I'm appealing to you to reject any proposal to move or reduce RIA, one of the best programs where the city school district retains students and their families to live in the city and attend city schools. RIA was and could continue to be a draw to future refugee newcomer families and their students. Please don't support a proposal that creates yet another opportunity for a charter school or private school. Keep RIA at the Jefferson campus and restore the K-12 newcomer transition program. Please consider the unique language needs, social emotional needs of RIA students also and their families first, ahead of short-term financial and building goals. These students need support near or in school, not divided and transported around the city farther from the homes. And support RIA's trauma-informed environment that has been successful, efficiently consolidating services in one place and effectively getting students to school every day and graduating students ready for work or college, much like a community school where students are nurtured and supported, not spread out. Sorry. Look at the data too, please. Why dismantle what's working for students? RIA students' success can be measured with high attendance rates, low suspension rates, and strong parent, guardian, family engagement and participation. And if you haven't enjoyed an extended visit to RIA, please visit. Listen to the students, their stories, the parents and the staff, and then compare the other schools where EL students are not, unfortunately, as well supported. If underutilized space is the driving issue, keep RIA's 712 students at Jefferson, return the K-6 newcomer students so that RIA is a true transitional program for all newcomer students and their families would have an opportunity for a full year of support, and move another program, schools that need space like Rochester Early College or another RCSD department. The threat to the RCSD proposal creates an incentive for families to choose a charter or move to the suburbs or move to another more welcoming city than Rochester. Please restore RIA to K-12 and keep it at Jefferson, and move another district-wide program to Jefferson and take advantage of a great campus. Thank you for listening and considering.
Thank you, Mr. Donnelly.
Dr. Morris, our next speaker is a community member, Paul Miner, and they're coming into the room right now. Does not appear as though Paul is joining for audio, so we can move on to our next speaker, which is David Greer, also a community member.
Thank you.
Well, good evening. I am a member of the Edgerton community and a teacher at Rochester International Academy. I strongly oppose the ignorant dismantling of a highly effective program. As we consider Central's office proposed reconfiguration plan, I believe that my community needs a stable foundation, not reconfiguration. Schools are a cornerstone to communities. You propose to bring disruption to my community. Take a walk with me down Dewey Avenue, walk down Maryland Street where a man fired shots into an occupied car last night, and tell me that you think my community needs more disruption from central office. Schools bring life, activity, and hope for a future to neighborhoods. They are a light and a beacon of hope and this plan extinguishes that light and encourages more darkness. This plan is also deceptive. It purports to be merely a reconfiguration, but the reality for RIA is it will result in draconian cuts to a highly successful program that already provides equitable access to resources that our students need. You lie to the community when you call this a reconfiguration. You have already dissolved our kindergarten through 6th grade. You now propose to remove, not reconfigure, to remove the 7th and 8th grade in the name of equity. You use the platitudes of equity and data-driven decisions and the euphemisms of reconfiguration to disguise your plan. You may argue that we will be able to occupy the same space and share resources at the proposed new location for RIA, but we all know how sharing goes. I'm an older brother. If I have to share a cookie with my little brother, I'm definitely taking the bigger half. And so the little man is going to get the smaller half. So sure, you'll squeeze us in somewhere. We'll get the closets and old offices, the science room with the cute little portable sink, but it's all right because then it'll be equitable. Furthermore, the district uses data to misconstrue and deceive. You continually show your declining RCSD enrollment graph. However, you fail to explain that the average decline, if you remove the outlier from the pandemic years, is only about 500 students per year. That's only a 2% decline. The greatest
comments tonight. Thank you.
Yep, thank you very much. And I hope that you listen to our response. Have a nice night.
Our next speaker coming into the room is a community member, Victoria. Victoria, you have 2 minutes. Thank you so much for joining us.
Okay, thank you. Good evening. My name is Victoria Mangino. I'm a therapist on Project Stronger at Mount Hope Family Center. At the center, I work with children and families in aiding them to address the impact of trauma. Our center has partnered with RIA over the past few years. This has allowed me to witness firsthand that RIA is necessary to providing access to equitable education and wraparound support to the refugee population. According to our country's current administration and Catholic Family Center, who support refugees in resettlement, there are over 1,000 refugees relocating to our community in the upcoming year. Statistically, refugees are more likely to experience trauma and mental health challenges than the general population of the United States, both pre and post-migration. Tonight, I would like to offer my voice to represent the voices of these children and families that are not able to make it here to speak for themselves. They are not here because they are still on their often treacherous journey to resettlement, possibly in a United States military base, separated from family, a refugee camp across the world, or still in their home country, hoping one day to be here. Over the past year, I have worked on building relationships with the students at RIA. Oftentimes, mental health is stigmatized and distrusted. Since I have been at RIA, the students have been open to discussing their emotions and starting to process their trauma with me. I attribute 100% of this openness from the students to the safety and focus on mental health of the RIA staff that they have created for their students. It is apparent that students walk through the doors and immediately feel visible, supported, valued, respected, and part of a community, which only helps in promoting healing. The staff at RIA are operating through a lens of trauma-informed care and humanity. This proposal is suggesting that it would be best for these already traumatized families to once again be separated into different schools and once again being moved out of their community and go into a school in a separate part of town. As I'm told, when RIA started, one of the main goals was to consolidate these specialized resources for the refugee population. This current proposal mentions that the goal is to consolidate resources again while simultaneously disbanding most of RIA. For other populations, this proposal might do just that, consolidate resources, but not specifically for the refugee population. In reality, this proposal will disperse resources and, what was that?
Thank you. You've met your 2 minutes. Thank
you. The board would be doing a disservice to vote yes on this without even knowing what RIA does. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Jody Manley, and they're going to be coming into the room right now. Hi, Jody. Thank you for joining us. You have 2 minutes.
Great, thank you. I'm Dr. Jody Manley, and I'm the Clinical Director of Mount Hope Family Center, which is a member of the National Child Traumatic Stress Network. And RCSD's mission of fostering students' individual talents and abilities in a nurturing environment of equity requires addressing a range of distinct needs. The refugee and immigrant students in RCSD require attention to their stressors associated with trauma, isolation, acculturation, and resettlement, in addition to the educational needs of newcomers and English language learners. The Rochester International Academy has specialized expertise in these areas. RIA has cultivated a climate where students feel welcomed and appreciated while recognizing their unique needs as well. Mount Hope Family Center has partnered with RIA to address traumatic stress and mental health needs of this group of students. And the numbers of children coming to Rochester from Afghanistan and other war-torn countries is growing, and RCSD needs to plan for expanding needs, not reducing capacity. RIA understands the layers of cultural, linguistic, educational, and mental health supports needed to foster navigate their migration journeys. RIA's teachers and administrators have experience with these unique needs of refugee students and families, or foster families if the youth arrive unaccompanied, and along with interpreters and cultural brokers, create something truly special at RIA. And the funders who awarded a $2.5 million grant for establishing a refugee educational welcome center to be located per the grant on the Jefferson campus in a neighborhood that's populated with large numbers of newcomers' families, recognized the excellent and specialized capabilities of RIA to meet the needs of these students and families in awarding the grant. Creating a structure with more transitions and more separations of sibling groups by reducing the number of grades served by RIA and out of the neighborhood where families see RIA as a source of many resources does not address the needs of these students who have already gone through extreme life changes, or for families who have endured unspeakable horrors. I urge you to reconsider the proposal and retain the outstanding high quality of the current RIA location and structure. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Dr. Morris, our next speaker will be John Boutte. He's coming in from the waiting room right now.
Thank you. Good evening, Dr. Good evening. You have 2 minutes. Thank you.
Who were you talking to?
You have 2 minutes. Thank you.
Yeah, the thing I wanted to bring to the attention of the school community is the fact that really the way the district has been working for the last 20 years or so has been to the detriment of the Black and brown members of the community. For 100 years, the state and city did their best to sidetrack those communities through redlining and all sorts of other processes, such as cutting through neighborhoods, urban redevelopment that just really harm those areas. Now we have a very poor population in the city, and they always keep saying, oh, we don't have the resources to fix this. In 1990, Ralph Spezio over at School 17, which was in a very poor neighborhood, turned that school around until it was a showcase in the state of how well it was working. And so come 2000, we've had a good example of how do you turn a school around. You make it a community school, you have wraparound services. And the way he did that at that time was by stopping the busing. So only the kids from that neighborhood came to the school, and he was able to get a lot of parent involvement and put in a medical center and dentistry and all sorts of things to improve the performance of the schools. And so we knew how to do this. So what did we do in 2002? We started up the Managed School Choice Program, which told parents that they could take a bus to anywhere in the district that was 1.5 miles away from where they lived. And this basically disassociated parents from their child's school. And that really has...
Your time is up. Thank you.
All right, Dr. Morris, our next community member coming into the room is Maria Quigliana. Maria doesn't seem to be joining us for audio, so we'll try to circle back with her. In the meantime, we're going to bring in Ellen Smith, a community member.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us, Ellen. You have 2 minutes.
Ellen, you're still on mute.
Hi, I'm Ellen Smith, and I'm the Executive Director of Keeping Our Promise. We are an organization that has been functioning in Rochester, New York for 7 years and resettling wartime allies from Iraq and Afghanistan that worked for the US military, the United Nations, and USAID programs. 22 years ago, I moved to this community and I participated in discussions on how to make Rochester City school districts better for the students. And what I learned was from the Harley School and Allendale Columbia. And what I learned in studies was that the best schools were students who had 500 to 550 students in the entire school. What I am saying tonight is that you need to make more schools like RIA, not RIA like other schools. RIA was chosen and recognized by the United Nations as an exemplary school program for refugee children. I have children coming in who witnessed relatives shot, bodies being eaten by dogs on the street, and people crucified and beheaded. They need the resources that RIA gives in trauma-informed care that the other schools, who are huge, do not offer these students. I cannot express the sentiment enough. The other thing that I want to say is that you are talking about social justice focus, undersubscribed schools, schools in receivership. And what I am saying tonight is that the Rochester City School District needs to make more schools like RIA, not RIA like the other schools. You need family settings. You need children eating lunch together as family units. I also want to tell you this, that my students, my kids, my Afghan, my Iraqi, my Kurdish children in our program that have gone through RIA, they are in college on scholarship. They are doing incredibly well. I cannot express enough support for Mary. So this is what I am saying. Do not shut down RIA. Do not make more schools like RIA, and bring RIA back to what it used to be. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your comments this evening.
Dr. Morris, our next speaker is Roberta. She's also a community member coming into the room right now. Thank you for joining us, Roberta. You have 2 minutes.
Thank you. I'm Roberta Micah, and I am here to request that you not move RIA from its current location. Can you hear me okay? I am from Rochester Northwest Rotary, and I am the liaison advisor to RIA's Rotary Interact Club. And every year we enjoy a membership in the club from 30 to 90 students. It's really pretty incredible. All Interact clubs have to do service projects that support their immediate and worldwide communities, and RIA's Interact Club does this handedly. Every year, the students grow between 8,000 and 10,000 vegetable plants in the school's greenhouse, and then FoodLink distributes them to Rochester's community gardens. They are the lifeblood for the Lexington Avenue Garden, in particular, supporting 50 families there. And then they support worldwide communities by growing about 1,200 sunflowers from seed, also in the school's greenhouse. And then they take them to the public market. And they raise between $2,000 and $3,000 every year and support organizations such as the United Nations High Commission for Refugees, the International Rescue Committee, International Red Cross, Doctors Without Borders, etc. One of the best things about the Interact Club is how academics are supported there. English is the language in common, and all activities are done using English. Excuse me. Math is used to calculate how long it takes to germinate seeds, so they can figure out when they are planting the seeds, when they are planting them again due to low germination rates. They use math when they're measuring. They have to rebuild the seed beds every year, measuring boards to do that. They use math when they're making change. I'm trying to hurry here. Okay, so math is used, science is used, social studies is supported. If RIA moves to another school, the Rotary Interact Club ends, and the exponential benefits to RIA students, their immediate community, and worldwide communities ends. If RIA moves to another school, the terrific, knowledgeable, tireless administrative teaching and staff support ends. They are at the top of their game. Why dissolve and dissipate an academic learning environment that works so well? Why move students away from a learning environment they currently thrive in? Thank you.
Thank you, Roberta.
Dr. Morris, our next speaker is Deborah, a community member, and is going to be coming in shortly.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Deborah, the Chai Saba, and I wanted to talk about my experience from 58 school. I went to RIA for 2 years, and then I transferred to 58 school with other 3 students from RIA. I think actually 3 or 4 students, but one of them or 2 of them was able to go back to RIA because of the experience we was having out of 58. I know I was able to handle, but it's very, very hard to be with people who don't understand you, people who actually have no idea what you've been through or where you come from. I had students more than 20 times come in a hallway asking me questions like, oh, have you guys wear clothes? Did you guys sleep on the trees? Or do you guys have drink dirty water? Like, this student has no idea what it is like to being a refugee. They have no idea how to treat like someone who's different. I had a friend, she's from Somali, and then she dressed up just like Somali people dress up to a hijab, and we had like kids from 8th grade. They would be so mean to her, the things that they would say to her, and it's not like you can just go to any teacher like, oh, this kid said this and this to me. It's like they told you they're gonna take care of it, but it doesn't stop the kids from saying those kind of things to you. And the kids don't respect you in what you've been through, and you're different. RIA, being different is unique. We love everybody who's different. We want to learn from every person. But the other school or this school, for you, like if I want to do something from my culture, if I'm eating food from my culture at school, if I take my own lunch, they're going to tell me it smells bad. They don't even want to sit next to me because my food stink, something like that. I had one day, we had like a culture day where we wear hijabs. It was a hijab day where everybody's wearing hijab in the cafeteria. And we had boys who put on the hijab and come to the bathroom trying to make fun of her because she's wearing the hijab. She's like, really? This is how you do it? They're trying to make fun of her. It's supposed to be like a hijab day where you're teaching people about a hijab, but they turn that into like something to make fun of it. So
thank you for your comments this evening, Deborah. I appreciate them. You can also feel free to submit comments on our website as well, using the survey link as well for us to consider them. Thank you.
Our next speaker coming into the room is Natalia, a community member. Hi, Natalia. Thank you for joining us. You have 2 minutes.
Hi, good evening. My name is Natalia Gold. So I'm a preventive medicine physician, and I've worked with refugee and SIV students and families in clinic and in the Rochester community for 14 years. I've worked with RIA since its inception. It is a fact, not a question, that hundreds of refugee and SIV students will be arriving to Rochester in fiscal year 2022. And these are students that would traditionally start at RIA and transition to a different school when they are ready. This proposal is a very misguided solution based on old data, not new facts, that point to the need to actually expand RIA back to a K-12 school and to provide additional staffing and support, given the number of new arrivals that will be coming. For over a decade, RIA has provided highly skilled and highly tailored wraparound services to both students and their parents in order to meet the many needs of learners, including language, academic skills acquisition, addressing interrupted, no prior formal education, the severe trauma these students have encountered that others have spoken about, working with multiple cultural beliefs and pressures that students face that have a high impact on their education and well-being. Currently, there are no other schools or staff in RCSD that will be able to provide the same high-quality services to the students. Thus, it is unethical to consider taking grades 7 to 8 out of RIA and moving grades 9 to 12 to Wilson to programs that will 100% fail to meet the needs of their of these students and would have a severe negative impact on their emotional, physical, mental health, and in their academic success. I'm saying this to you as a physician trained in public health and preventive medicine and social determinants of health, who has seen these students and their families in clinic and in the community. When RIA students transition to RCSD schools, as the board just mentioned, they face emotional and physical harm from Native students who target them due to their language barrier, appearance, dress, religion, and other factors causing additional trauma. SIFE students need to absolutely have the choice to attend RIA as a K through 12 school and then transition to a school.
Thank you so much.
Coming into the room right now is Mary Androcolic Monasayo Diaz, a staff member.
Thank you so much.
Good evening, Mary. You have 2 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. I am infuriated sitting here. I'm infuriated because I have students that signed up for this meeting that could not get in. We helped them. And more infuriating is the fact that thank you, everyone. I am infuriated sitting here. I'm infuriated because I have students that signed up for this meeting that could. Am I still on? Can you hear me? I'm sorry, Dr. Morris. Something happened. It was on. Okay, so I'm really infuriated, and I had a whole thing to write down. First, we were told we had 3 minutes. I ended up having 2 minutes. I'm glad that I can see all the people that are on this meeting. I want my community to know that all the board members are here. They can hear you. We had to read this book. Where is the justice for L's? Look at the inequity of this meeting. You don't see my parents here because they couldn't get on this meeting. There's no language support. We're always told that RIA's violating the civil rights of students. We are not violating the civil rights. I haven't seen that in writing. You took away the K-6. Now you want to take away the 7-8. Wilson has always been a choice for my students. When my students leave RIA, they have a choice of any city school. They could go to the IB program if they want to. Wilson's the #1 draw. You're going to take space away from Wilson. Early college needs more space. Placement needs more space. You're going to take RIA once again, dismantle. I'm almost tired of fighting this fight. But if it's my kids and my families that I'm fighting for, and the voices of those that aren't even here, I don't understand why. And I want to speak to the board. Be the champion of this community, of this population. Last night, City Council voted on the 15 inaugural members for the New American Advisory Board. I am one of those inaugural members. I don't understand this district. And you're going to find out from CFC that they're going to partner with charter schools now. Charter schools want the kids. They're going to have smaller class sizes. They're using my former students as interpreters, but you want to dismantle again and name it for fiscal because we only use one part of Jefferson. Well, bring more here. Give me back the K-6. The numbers that are coming in, you're not going to be able to handle them. And look at the data. Look at the kids that you took out of RIA. Look at the data. They are not thriving. They are failing. And I don't know who, board members, please, I don't know who is in the ear of our superintendent, but we are going to lose. I'm the only program that had students from suburban schools. But yet we're dismantling. 3 years ago, we were one of the top 5 program schools in the nation. United Nations with us. Look at the people from the community that have come out to speak. But you want to move us again and dismantle us again. And the reasoning to put them in an exposure to the IB program, they have that choice.
Mary, thank you for your comments tonight. Your 2 minutes are up.
And what we say, this book, anyone's reading this book should be infuriated because our district's not even following it. Just because this meeting, a lack of language support, and my parents and guardians that could not be part of this meeting, and English-speaking people who signed up for this meeting were not on the list. And Dr. Morris, I appreciate you getting on those that you could last minute, but there are many that were not on this list. And thank you.
Thank you, Mary.
Coming into the room next is Zach Aarons, a staff member.
Hi, good evening, everybody. My name is Zach Arenz. I'm a teacher at Flower City School 54. From the moment that I joined the school 5 years ago, I and so many others have been welcomed consistently with open arms. I'm grateful to each and every person that I've been able to work with, teachers, families, and students alike. And despite several moves since 2019 to upgrade and remodel the school that we're in, we're growing a lot. Any one of you who's ever come to see the Flower City School would see quickly that we're a dedicated team that goes to the ends of the earth to meet the needs of our students and their families. I spend countless hours spreading over ways to improve our school community in these years. I, along with other teachers and the administrators, help manage the school social media accounts. You can see these pictures that are taken by our students from their perspective, and that's increased desire to attend the school across the city. I've started ukulele clubs, stage crews, media teams, orff ensembles, bands, and so many other things, but they take a long time to build and set up in a school. I've been able to also earn one of RCSC Educator of the Year awards because of the support that's provided by the Flower City family. Earlier, you heard our PTSO president, and because of her dedication and the dedication of other people on the PTSO, growing, we're going to continue to grow. Please don't be afraid of the growth that Flower City School is showing. We have a basketball team being spearheaded by one of our teachers, and families and students come to the school an hour and a half before school to practice. Their first game is tomorrow, and the student body couldn't be more excited for their peers. The same goes for the Before School Readers Theater program that's using our students' creative skills to build academic confidence. You're proposing to take away these things from our school's community. Teachers everywhere are using their free time to help our students grow. There's nothing quite like having those students run off the bus every morning to say hello, good morning, and I love you, but you're proposing to take these things away from the students that we promise to serve. In the months that come, we're going to learn who's cared for the most in this district. Like Mary said, be a champion for our students. Show us how much you care by fighting with us and fighting for us. We urge you to reconsider this harmful reconfiguration plan so that school families can stay together in a time that it's needed more than ever. Thank you.
Thank you.
Coming into the room right now is Joe Baldino, a staff member. Joe, thank you for joining us. You have 2 minutes.
Good evening, President White, Vice President Elliott, Commissioners of Education, Dr. Lesli Myers-Small, Superintendent, and the Executive Cabinet, parents, students, and my colleagues. I chose to speak this evening about the reconfiguration proposal, and I totally respect and completely respect the countless hours that Dr. Myers-Small and her cabinet put in to developing the plan. I have great deal of respect for that. I know they were given a very unenviable task to have to close buildings and schools to decrease our footprint. I totally understand that, and I support that need to do so. My reason for speaking tonight is I wanted to provide some perspectives on the proposal relative to School 29. 29, the building itself, I totally understand because I live here every day. The infrastructure is crumbling. The building really needs to be remodeled. Absent doing that, and I do really understand the cost prohibitive nature of that. Yes, School 19 is a newer building, and going there would be very good for us as far as the infrastructure process goes. I'm just extremely concerned as the principal to have our GEM program sent to a different location. I've learned over my 5+ years how unique the program is, and what helped me over those years to learn it were the people in the school who were here all before I got here, and they were able to teach me about what we need to do I need to do as a leader to make sure I meet the needs of those students. I understand the environment is not the best for them, but in a school with a better physical environment would help them. But it takes a lot of time and effort to be able to understand that program And just moving that program, even if you move the same staff into a building where people don't understand it, has me greatly concerned. GEM, for those who aren't aware of it, stands for Growth and Education of Multiple Disabled Children. The other part of their condition is that they're very fragile and things happen very quickly with them. And I'm not criticizing any potential future leaders. I wouldn't want someone criticizing me, but you really need to have a great sensitivity to that. And it takes time to develop that. And I'm afraid for the children, if they were to go somewhere and there wasn't at that time given and something happened, it could be a serious situation. The other thing is School 29, our children here at the building really understand it as well. Other children could get up to speed with that, but our children know there's equipment in the hallways. We don't run. We make sure we're very respectful. They even provide assistance with, moving the children from one place to the other. Again, because of the medical fragile nature of the students, I wouldn't want or can't feel comfortable if they go somewhere and people don't understand that 100%. And finally, I realize we can't stay here, though I feel with not a significant amount of money, our building could be brought up to speed. I think the figure was about $10 million. We have in our building here done some things to really improve the inclusivity of our school with the GEM program involved. So again, going to another building, trying to start this all over again, I feel would be very problematic. So again, with a great respect for Dr. Myers-Small and the cabinet, I know you did a lot of work and you put a lot of thought into it. And I want you to understand sincerely, I'm not criticizing that. I want you to understand that, but I do feel I had to speak on behalf of our GEM children. I am very concerned about this part of the plan. I'm really worried about them moving forward. And again, this is not a criticism of others. I know people are very bright and they can figure stuff out, but as their advocate, as their principal, I felt the need to speak about my concern that they will be separated from our school and go to another school as a standalone program. Again, thank you for your hard work on this and thank you for all your time. And I appreciate being able to speak tonight. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Dr. Morris, coming into the room right now is Tina Bianchi, a staff member. Tina, thank you for joining us. You have 2 minutes.
Thank you. Togetherness is the answer to separation. But all of our students at Rochester International Academy have been separated from their countries and from their homes. Most have been separated from all or from many of their families and their friends. But from day one, for every student at RIA, it's a welcoming experience. They come in, they receive their official RIA gear. They are met by staff and peers who speak their languages. They are taken under the wings of those who have walked in their shoes. They have a counselor, a nurse, a librarian, and a cafeteria staff who understand their cultural norms. They see their flags hanging in our hallways. They hear their languages, and they instantly become a part of our beloved RIA family. Our CSD enrollment may be declining, but we know that the refugee population will continue to grow. So stop separating siblings by putting them in different buildings. Stop making parents navigate communication in English from multiple schools. Stop underutilizing the incredible knowledge, experience, and passion of the RIA staff and our community partners. And for those with a vote, do not be fooled by the superintendent's misleading rhetoric. Moving 6 to 8 to a middle school model simply means cutting 7th and 8th grade from our program. Newcomers in grades K through 8 will no longer have a transitional program when they arrive in America. And it is not a fact, as the superintendent states, that we can enhance the IB experience and begin shifting to an international high school focus by relocating international students to the Wilson campus. So instead of dismantling a nationally recognized program, consider using RIA to its full potential and build back our K through 12 program. Consider mental health as a guiding principle, not just on social media, but in practice. And in the future, please collaborate in advance with those who know the best, as opposed to dropping a figurative bomb and then asking us to tell you how we all feel about it. Thank you.
Next on our speakers list and in the waiting room is Angie Ferris, a staff member, coming in right now. Angie, thank you for joining us. You have 2 minutes.
Thank you. My name is Angie Ferris. I'm going on my 20th year at School 54. During the November 9th Board of Education meeting, when Dr. Myers-Small brought forth her proposal to close all these schools, she talked about the trauma that our students have gone through before, during, and after COVID. So let me show you what trauma looks like in my school. 2017-2018 school year was the last normal school year for us. In August of 2018, our previous principal fell during a back to school event. This was witnessed by several of our students. She tried to work with her doctor, pulled her out. During the 2018-19 school year, we had a revolving door of administrative subs. Nobody wanted to stay because they were all retired. In the spring of 2019, Lashara Evans joined our school as our administrator. For the rest of the year, she made it her mission to get to know all of our students and staff. She worked hard and built solid relationships. For the 2019-20 school year, while our building was getting remodeled, we were supposed to go to Jefferson and share with RIA. Everybody was excited. We were excited for an awesome partnership for a year and hoping to learn from them. But after half of our things were moved, they decided, no, we're going to Franklin. That was a mess. Our hallway was accessible to the high school kids. They were in our halls smoking weed, verbally threatening our kids and vandalizing our stuff. In January of 2020, we lost 6 teachers due to mid-year layoffs, even after we were assured there would be little to no disruption to our classes. Teachers had to move grade levels, classes were shut down, kids were shuffled around and put into other classes. By the time we got to learn about our new students that we received from other teachers, we went home because of COVID. Elementary kids were sent home with no technology for over a month, but with the expectation that teachers were supposed to teach them. At the end of the 2019-20 school year, more schools closed. Kids had to say goodbye to their teachers and friends over Zoom. We started the 2021 school year over Zoom. Kids who got displaced from their schools had to start at a new school with new teachers and new classmates over Zoom. This was extremely difficult to build relationships. I've got 4 kids in my class who were in that situation, and now they're hearing that they might have to go to a new school. Okay, our kids have gone through enough trauma. Closing schools is not going to make it better.
Thank you, Nancy.
You're welcome.
Joining us next is David, a staff member. David, thank you for joining us. You have 2 minutes.
Unmute. Thank you very much, board members and Superintendent Myers-Small, for giving our school community the time to share with you the multiple reasons why School 7 should continue this path of success that we've had truly over the years. Understanding that the rationale for closing School 7 is multifaceted, I'm going to take my time this evening to focus on what seems to be one of the major factors in making this decision is our CSI status, and really how that accountability label does not tell our whole story. Rather, it's just the outside layer of a very, very complex situation. Board members, please be aware, prior to 2017, School 7 was a school in good standing with the state. We actually were awarded by President Van White the first ever We Can Award for our achievement levels. Unfortunately for our school community, our success was interrupted by our move to a district swing space while our building went through the renovation process. This process took place during the 2016-17 and 2017-18 school years. And much like other schools that followed this path during the modernization of their buildings, we came out of this circumstance losing our good standing accountability. The actionable reasons why this occurred are way too many for my limited time this evening. But once back at School 7 in the 2018-19 school year, our success mirrored that of our past, leading the district in mathematics growth, according to the last New York State assessments that have been held. Also, we ranked 5th in growth in ELA that same year. And it's really, really important to state that during this time, from the spring of 2018, those assessments to the spring of 2019 assessments, School 7 was the only, and I repeat, the only elementary school within the district to exhibit at or above 100% growth in both ELA and mathematics performance indexes. It should also be noted at this time that not only were we a school that grew leaps and bounds, we also ranked in the top 25% of the district's elementary schools for achievement levels.
Thank
Also,
you, David, this evening.
Can I just invite real quick? I just want to invite all of the board members. I've had the opportunity over the last couple of weeks to meet with many of you. Please come by the school anytime. I'd be very this place, and it should remain one of the jewels within our CSD. Thank you this evening.
Thank you so much, David.
Our next speaker coming into the room is Christina Pelletier, a staff member, excuse me. For joining us, Christina, you have 2 minutes.
Okay, thank you. My name is Christina Pelletier. I am an ENL teacher at the Rochester International Academy. Tonight, instead of speaking to you as a staff member, I'm going to use my time to give voice to students that have not been given a voice to this date. The following words were written by 2 seniors from RIA, Unglio and Sudesh Rai. We are writing to share our ideas about moving out grades 7 through 8 from RIA and sending the rest to Wilson. RIA is the home for students who just arrived in a place where they can feel safe. Ask anyone who studies at RIA, past or present, about their experience. They teach us how to be happy with small things and also prepare us for the real world. We are a RIA family. It's easy to judge. It's more difficult to understand. Understanding requires compassion, patience, and willingness to believe that good hearts sometimes choose poor methods. We need RIA. RIA is the only thing that has made us feel safe. We need RIA here because if we don't have RIA, then we don't have a home. When I'm with my RIA family, I feel so safe, like I'm at home. Through judging, we separate. Through understanding, we grow. Please do not take us away from our RIA family. No one leaves home unless home is the mouth of a shark. No one puts their children in a boat unless the water is safer than the land. What we mean by this is that the only reason we should ever leave RIA, our home, is if we were in danger. But we are not in danger here. We are safe, we are loved, and we are supported. Board members, please vote no. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Dr. Morris coming into the room right now is Lee Catherine Schickler, a staff member. Thank you for joining us. You have 2 minutes.
Good evening. I'm Lee Schickler, and I teach students with disabilities. This is my first year in person at school number 7, but I have looped with the majority of my students for the past 5 years. Our class began at Henry Lahm School number 20 in 2017. My students are a highly vulnerable population, and the decision was made to keep them advancing as a class, with me as their teacher, because research shows stability, community, and peer trust are absolutely critical to their success. As you know, Henry Lahm just closed a year ago, inflicting the kind of social, emotional, and community disruption that could have erased years of this class's hard work Fortunately, the families of my students had the faith and commitment to keep our class together. And we were so relieved and grateful when we were provided with a new safe haven here at school number 7. Needless to say, pandemic instruction has been an especially crushing burden on my students and their families. And now, just as we're beginning to regain a sense of normalcy, the proposed closure of school number 7 threatens not only to disrupt, but actually disperse these kids across the district. I've spent years not only teaching, but serving as an example to our families that the district is committed to supporting our most vulnerable students in need. Closing school number 7 will devastate the students and families, and I implore you to fully weigh the cold financial and political factors against the resulting emotional trauma and erosion of public trust. Thank you.
So much.
Thank you, Lee. Our next speaker is Elise Schuford, a staff member, and is coming into the room right now. Thank you for joining us, Elise.
Thank you for your time. My name is Elise Schuford, and I joined the RCSD at School 41 the year it closed and then transferred to school number 7. My students have asked me to share on their behalf that School 7 is a generational school. One of my students' families shared their grandparents went here. Mom tried to come here, but it was full, and now her children are coming through the school. This is not the only instance of generational schooling that we have heard in our short tenure here, as well as in the meeting this evening. Many teachers know or have taught parents of students who are coming through now, and at least one family I've heard of has 4 generations that traverse these halls. I am concerned that one of the reasons stated for considering the reconfiguration of the schools is the access to extracurricular activities. I don't know if it's known, but School 7 has access to many extracurriculars. We have a basketball team run by one of our staff members. We also have clubs that meet multiple times a week. I myself teach theater. We also have Makerspace, Games Club, American Sign Language, and new clubs every quarter. In the spring and summer, the rec department uses our field and playground for an outdoor club. In fact, I've seen students come back, even students that have graduated before. We also have had a step team here that have performed at events around town and other athletics in the past. Our spring and winter concerts are attended with standing room only, and our main event, Thanksgiving Feast, every November, feeds about 200 people. Finally, living in Maplewood myself, School 7 is a well-revered community school. When I talk to my neighbors, I often get told, oh, I graduated from there, or my cousin went over there. I often get asked, is this teacher still here? Many of the teachers at School 7, both current and retired, are considered part of the community in Maplewood. Although I could prattle on for another 3 minutes with questions from my students, I thank the commissioners for taking time to see our community this weekend and look forward to seeing you for a visit soon. Thank you again for your time and for listening.
Thank you so much.
Our next speaker tonight is Jenna Sokash, a staff member who's coming into the room right now. Hi, Jenna. Thank you for joining us. You have 2 minutes.
Thank you. Good evening. I am the 7th and 8th grade ENL teacher at RIA. Tonight, I am not here to share my thoughts and opinions about the proposed changes to RIA. Instead, given their permission, I am here to share with you the thoughts and opinions of the 7th and 8th grade students that you are proposing to cut from our school. So please hear their words and listen to their thoughts. RIA is important because they help us if we don't know English. RIA understands our religions and are respectful to our religions. Boys and girls do not have PE together, and we do not have pork in the cafeteria. At RIA, we celebrate all holidays, not just the American ones. We celebrate holidays from many countries. At RIA, we can speak our own languages in the class so that we can learn more. They help us get uniforms and things when we need them. We have glossaries in our language to help us learn. RIA is important because we can do everything, even if we don't speak English. We can do student government and volleyball and morning announcements and Interact Club. RIA teachers let us share our ideas with the community. I love RIA because no one cares if you have different skin colors or other things that are different. I love RIA because we feel safe and we can learn and have fun. At RIA, there is no hate. At RIA, we are a family. At RIA, our doors are always open. I invite you to please come see the RIA magic that we show every single day. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Coming to the room next is John Haig, a staff member, joining the room right now.
End talking.
John, thank you for joining us. You have 2 minutes.
Thank you. Thank you, board members, for taking the time to listen to us tonight. I really appreciate it. And thank you. And there's one thing I ask all of you is keep the kids in mind, keep the students in mind. They're the ones that really lose in this whole battle. And I am going to be the voice of another student, just like some of my other colleagues at RIA. I am the voice of Faisal London from East Africa, who spent time in a refugee camp in Tanzania, and Sermu, who is a boy from Karen descent, who spent time in a refugee camp in Thailand. We are writing to share our ideas about the superintendent's proposal to require RIA to move to the Wilson IB program. We really respect your reasons to try to move us out of RIA, but I think it would be helpful to listen to what we are trying to tell you about our reasons to prevent moving out of this hospitable school. At RIA, we have the opportunity to learn more English at any level. This means students just learning get the help they need, and those with stronger English can help them. Another reason why we shouldn't move out of this school is because it helps students feel at home when we meet our other students from our own country or from other countries. We understand and help one another. We come from all over the world, but when we are at RIA, we feel like we haven't gone anywhere. It is comfortable and we are family. Finally, think about forcing students to move out of RIA. How about you try to go as a student to a different country with a different culture without knowing their language? How would it make you feel? Try to wear our shoes and see if they will fit you. Please, please say no on this proposal. Sincerely, Faisal London and Sermu. I have had the pleasure to teach both of these students and witness their growth. Please, please think of the students when you make your choice. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Coming into the room next is Julianne Wise, a staff member. Thank you for joining us, Julianne. You have 2 minutes.
Thank you. My name is Julianne Wise, and I'm the very proud librarian at Rochester International Academy. And I'm also the very proud advisor to the school's Interact Club that you've heard about earlier this evening. The rationale given for moving elementary out of RIA was that receiving schools were equipped to provide the mandated support our ENL students are supposed to receive. Instead, we hear through our teacher grapevine that ENL teachers in other buildings are regularly pulled to substitute for classroom teachers. This would never happen at RIA. Never. Every RIA teacher, including our building substitute, is trained in sheltered instruction observation protocols and uses this research-based design to design and execute lesson plans. The serious issue of not providing mandated ENL services to our multilingual learners would be compounded by exacerbating the problem you already caused by pulling elementary out and also pulling 7th and 8th grade out. And it's not just mandated needs that are unmet. We must fill many additional needs to empower our newly arrived, most vulnerable students to be successful. I can tell you a story about a family that just came in last week. I could repeat this probably for almost every family we've had. Our family came in on a special immigrant visa status, and we learned they were walking 20 plus miles a day to get their children to our RCSD schools. I didn't stutter, 20 miles a day. That's how they were going from home to district schools in the snow, some children with no socks, to ensure all the students and their family were maximizing their educational opportunities before their district busing started. Our district added 10 miles to Dad's day by spreading his kids out at various schools. And our district decisions not only resulted in this mileage overage, but also multiple drop-up and pickup policies for this father who speaks zero English to learn to navigate. How did I learn about their plight? We are attuned to listening to what our students need at RIA, and we were there to learn what we were asking, why our children were so tired when they came to school. Please do not pull 7th and 8th grade from RIA. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Coming into the room next is Liz Vasquez, a staff member. Liz, thank you for joining us. It's your time to speak. You have 2 minutes.
Can you hear me?
We can, thank you.
Sure. So my name is Liz Vasquez, and I'm the school secretary at RIA, and I am the first point of contact when my parents and my students come into our building. And I know that this move to Wilson is going to look like a swing space. We have a special needs that are going to be difficult when you have 2 schools in the building, and it's so different. The 2 programs are so different. But I am here today to also read on behalf of my students. Sure. So my name is Liz Vasquez, and I'm the school secretary. Hold on. What's going on? And I am the first point of contact when my parents and my students come into our building. And I know that this move to Wilson is going to look like a swing space. We have a special needs that are going to be difficult when you have 2 schools in the building, and it's so different. I don't know what to do, Tom.
You need to go ahead and just either turn down the sound on your computer or wherever the YouTube or Facebook is playing currently.
Okay, I don't see it. That's the problem. Oh, here, hold on. Sorry. Here it is. I'm so sorry. So aside from what I already said, I'm also here to read to share this on behalf of our students. RIA has been recognized as a strong transitional program for newly arrived immigrants and refugee students. RIA was given a gold award from School of Opportunities in 2006 because we are one of the best in the country. RIA only had 307 students in 2006, but we were able to win the award anyways. Instead of making us smaller, please make RIA bigger. RIA is one of the best schools in the nation. Our school library includes texts in multiple languages. Chromebooks offer students more opportunities to learn, to study and learn, and translate when needed. How is this important? Because students can read their language if they cannot read English yet. All immigrants come to the school because they have limited English. If they move this school to a high-level English learning, it will not be helpful to them. Moving RIA to the IB program is a very bad idea because it's not going to help us succeed. And I just want to let you know that many letters and videos will be coming forth from our students, and we would appreciate it if you would please review the videos and read the rest of the letters from our students that will be sent to you.
Thank you.
And thank you for having me on today.
Thank you.
Dr. Morris, our next speaker is Purjeet Rana, coming in from the waiting room. It's staff member.
Hello.
Thank you for
Namaste.
joining us, Mr. Rana. You have 2 minutes.
Hello. Namaste. My name is Purjeet Rana. I've come from Nepal. So as an immigrant myself and my siblings went to the city school district, I know how challenging it is for refugees and immigrants here. So basically the students are, because of the challenges, the students are left with like 3 different choices, hard choices. Like some of them choose to fight back, which is very bad. Some of them entirely give up education. They give up. That's worse. The worst of all is they choose to remain silent and tolerate, which is dangerous. But this don't happen in RIA, simply because the program at RIA is designed in such a way that they are not only educating them, they're also keeping their cultural aspects highly valued and honored and respected. Unfortunately, many students were forced to go to a different school without necessary support. They're struggling now, whereas they were thriving at RIA, and many have quit. I'm gonna tell you an example from one of our former students who called me sadly from jail and asked me for some help, and which I said I would do for him. But at the end of the conversation, he said, Mr. Rana, I wish I had never left RIA, and started to cry. And that literally broke my heart. And even today, I feel like we could have saved him, but we can potentially save a lot of future students, but only if we can save RIA. Thank you.
Thank you.
Rana, I wish I had never left RIA, and started to cry.
Dr. Morris, we have a phone caller coming in, so I'm unable to identify them in advance of who they are or their affiliation.
Thank you.
Hello?
For our caller on the line, you have 2 minutes to speak. Thank you so much for joining us.
Okay. So I'm Jaden and Caden's mom, Candace Williams, and I was participating just to say how I felt about the school closing. And I do want to say that with school number 7, they did help my kids out a lot. When I first started there, I sent them to a charter school, and the charter school had me sign documentation stating that they couldn't service my kids. So school number 7 was the only program that had the ICOP program. And ever since then, my kids have been achieving with their grade, and they've been in there since kindergarten up until 3rd grade. So I think it is a good idea to keep the school open instead of closing it, because there's not a lot of schools that are able to work with kids that have a disability.
Thank you so much for your comments tonight.
Mm-hmm. You're welcome. I have milk right here. I did. You need to look.
Hi, can you hear me?
I can. Thank you.
Larissa, thank you so much for joining us. You have 2 minutes to speak.
Thank you.
Yes, I can hear you.
I appreciate you letting me come and speak today. I was one of the people that was left off on the list initially. However, I am a ENL teacher at RIA, but I am here speaking on behalf of our students who need their voices to be heard. These are 3 students, Amal Ahmed, Rada Obaid, and Benazir Reza. If the superintendent wants to remove the 7th and 8th grades from RIA, it will be hard for students because they don't have a lot of English. They can't make connections with other students and teachers, and they will feel strange. When new students come and meet others from their country, they help them with their first language. New students need time because they are learning English from scratch. Another reason why we think the superintendent should not remove the students from RIA to another school is because the students feel RIA is like their home. RIA has many things from different cultures, like flags from different countries and pictures of our special events all over the school. RIA has many cultural arts in every class. And also when we see our own works and other students' works, we get inspired. Finally, it is important for you to know why RIA is so important to us. It is important because RIA is a good start for students that can't speak English. It's hard for non-English speakers to be with English-speaking students because English is not their first language. We know you have a lot to think about before you vote on the superintendent's proposal, but we hope you will accept these reasons. Please vote no on this proposal. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much.
Coming into the room next is Mary Adams, a community member. Mary, are you there? Mary is not connected for audio, so we will move on to O'Dealy coming into the room. O'Dealy, thank you so much for joining us this evening. You have 2 minutes to speak. You are currently muted. Thank you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
Can you
thank
hear me?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Okay. My name is Odile Ndole, and I'm a former. I don't like to say former, but because I know I'm always a real student, but I graduated at RIA. I just want to say, for the people who are making these choices, I don't think you understand what it's like to be a refugee in a new country. It's scary. It's scary to be a person, to go everywhere and people look at you as the refugee, as the new person. So when there's a place like RIA where you feel like there's people who understand you and like they know what you've been through, because we all went through the same thing. And I don't think anybody at any school any school, they can understand this. They can treat these new students who are coming, all students at RIA right now. I don't think anybody can treat them the way the RIA staff and Miss Dearest and everybody else treat them. And taking Ria is like you're taking our home from us. Please, when you're voting, think about like these students who are new, like you are affecting their lives. We've already been through so much. Like you are like, I don't know how to express this because we've talked about this already. I don't know why we have to talk about this all the time. Every year, every semester, I feel like Ria is fighting this fight every year since I got to Ria. Like it's always like school is new teachers are moving every you're separating Ria every year. I don't understand what is so hard. What is going on in this district that like that Ria I don't understand. Like it's so hard. Just please consider, like you're taking our home from us. Don't take our home from us, please.
Thank you so much for your comments tonight.
Okay, coming in next to the room is Mira.
It looks like Mira is no longer in the list. Oh, there she is. All right, thank you. Mira,
Thank you so much for joining us. You have 2 minutes, Mira. Hi, Mira. As part of this public hearing, you're able to supply comments for the next 2 minutes. It's now your time to speak. You can go ahead whenever you're ready.
Good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me?
You can.
Yes. Good afternoon, everyone. Good evening. Yeah, I'm Meera Sampath. Currently, I am Associate Dean for Research at Binghamton University. I was formerly Vice President of Innovation at Xerox Corporation, and then Associate Vice Chancellor for Research at the Sony System. So I have a fair amount of background in the higher education space. I have been an advisory board member for RIA for several years now, close to 7-8 years, I believe. And I have firsthand experienced the wonderful work that happens at RIA, the personalized education that the students get when in a world where everyone is struggling to figure out ways to offer customized, personalized, targeted education. RIA has been doing an amazingly wonderful job. And it is significantly much more than education. RIA really focuses, the faculty and the staff really focus on the complete, well-rounded well-being of the children there and the larger community. So I have, through the years, worked with the staff, I've worked with the teachers, I worked with the students, and I've had firsthand experience the enormous success that RIA has had in shaping students and the impact that it has had. So I would very, very strongly urge the board to reconsider any decisions that are currently being made about resizing or moving RIA. If anything, I would very humbly request and strongly urge the board to restore RIA completely back to its pre-pandemic full program level. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your comments tonight.
Dr. Morris, we have one final speaker. I'm going to bring them in right now. Thank you so much this evening. You have 2 minutes to provide your comments. Thank you so much.
Dr. Morris, we have one final speaker. Bring them in right now.
Hi, can you hear me? Um, Hi, my name is Gedo Tools. I am former RIA student. I graduated in 2019. Now I'm in college at Madai College. RIA is my second home. My first day when I went to RIA, after the first day, my promise burnt down. So RIA was always there for me. When our promise burnt down, it was also my nephews. We always take care of us, but my nephew's school had to take care of them for us, but we are school had to take care of us. I remember I was a transfer student at the RIA school for 2 years. I transferred to School 58. The board talked about it. I transferred there, and then for my 11th grade there, and I got bullied. I got a lot of people judging me. I tried to go to the counselor, but the counselor was able to take care of me or they had time for me because there were so many students that they had to take care of. So I've been so stressed and depressed. Have you told a lot of people about the trauma that I've been through in United States also, and the trauma that you've been through the refugee camp, come here, still been to the trauma. Then when you go to the school, and then when I was at 58 and twice, I was almost committed suicide. I went back, talked to principal, to RIA, to the teacher, the staff, about what happens, and they welcome me back to go back there because they know the struggle that I've been through at School 58. So they take me back, and I graduated 2019. Now I'm in college. I'm junior. They've been helping me so much. Now I'm in college. It's been my junior year of college. I'm gonna graduate next year. So they've been helping me not just also just education wise. They've been helping me with like to how to become like leader. At my diet right now. I created multicultural clubs also there. I was the creator and the president there also. So I think we should have shout out RIA. RIA, we need more RIA here, especially in Rochester right now. We have so many and immigrants coming in. Right now, I'm doing my internship at CFC also. So, and we have so many immigrants coming in. Like last week, I pick out one of this week or last week, I pick out one of the clients that come in to the CSC. They have a kid to like 15 to 20 and then 17 to 20 or something like that. They should go to RIA. They should not go to the different school at all. They know zero English. When I come here, I know zero English. I started in 9th grade. When I come here, I started in 9th grade. Look at me now. I'm at college, ready to graduate.
Thank you. And that's a wonderful story for us to end with tonight. Thank you so much. And congratulations on your impending graduation from Madai. Congratulations. That's a great story. Thank you so much for coming tonight and speaking with us.
Dr. Morris, that concludes our speakers that are in the waiting room. We have taken speakers, also ones that are not on the speakers list, until there were no more speakers in the waiting room. Thank you.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much for your help tonight, Tom. And thank you so much for everyone who came and shared with us this evening. And the Board of Education was present and they will receive your comments. Remember, if you have additional comments that you would like to share with the Board of Education, please visit our website at rcsd.k12.org so you can share your information there. We have a webpage that you can submit comments, and those comments will be shared with the Board of Education. Thank you so much for your attention and your time tonight.